Continuing with the Gemara Bava, we saw Hanicha Lamanda Amar Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone patur. This would make sense if Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone is patur. That since it's a kotel ra'ua, or even though it's a kotel ra'ua and it's Techilato Bepeshia, nevertheless, in the end, that wasn't what caused the damage. What caused the damage was an ones, an unforeseen event, that an animal did something out of the ordinary by tunneling up the foundation of the wall and thereby escaped. So if you think in general, Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone patur, it would be understandable why our Mishnah, according to Rabbah, says Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone patur. Ela lamanda amar Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone chayav. But if your general position is Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone chayav, then ma'ika lameimar, what is there to say? How do we understand our Mishnah according to Rabbah? The Gemara so far basically could be outlined. We have the Mishnah Nifritza Balayla Osher Pirtu Alistim Patur. Rabbah said Husha Chatra, which means Chatra is Patur, and therefore Lo Chatra would be Chayav. The Gemara asked Hechidami, if we're dealing with the Kotel Bari, then we don't understand why Chatra would be Patur, since he did everything in his control, he did a good Shmirah. But if it's a Kotel Ra'ua, so it must be a Kotel Ra'ua, but if it's a Kotel Ra'ua, why would it be that Chatra would be Patur? It's Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone. So it depends on your perspective on Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone. If you think in general it's Patur, that would make sense that you're Patur here. But if you think in general it would be Chayav, why would you be Patur here? And this is the Gemara's question. The Gemara considers this to be a very strong question, and therefore ends up completely reinterpreting Rabbah's statement in the Mishnah. And let's see how the Gemara continues. Ella. The Gemara continues with the word Ella. Ella means we're going to reject everything we said until now. Ella matnitin b'kotel bari. Actually, we're going to go back and say we're talking about a kotel bari, a strong wall. V'afilu lo chatra, and it means afilu lo chatra. V'chi itmar deraba aseifa itmar. And the word ki here does not mean because, but it means and when. And when did Rabbah make his statement? Aseifa, on the seifa, on the end of the Mishnah, it was stated. And now the Gemara will explain what we mean. And this is a general idea. Chi itmar deraba aseifa idmar, sort of a tool the Gemara uses in other places, that we thought Rabbah's statement was referring to the Reisha. In actuality, it's referring to the Seifa, and the Seifa means a later part of the Mishnah. And the Gemara needs to explain which Seifa we're talking about, which part of the continuation of the Mishnah we're talking about. And the Gemara therefore goes on and quotes, Hinicha bechama, o shamasra lechevei shota v'katan v'yatza v'yizika chayav. This is a quote from the Mishnah. This is the Seifa of the Mishnah. And this is the part of the Mishnah that the Gemara is going to suggest that Rabbah is talking about. Hinicha b'chama osha masra l'chevei shota v'katan v'yatza v'yizika chayav. And about that, and well, what does that then mean? That if you leave it out in the sun, which is a deviant thing to do, meaning it's not the way you want to treat an animal, it can cause the animal to act crazy, which is not a good way of watching the animal, or two halves of the seifa, or you gave it to someone who is not competent to watch it, which is also a breach of your responsibility of shmirah. In either of these cases, v'yatza v'yizika goes out and damages, the owner is chayav. About that case, Amar Rabbah, Rabbah came and said, afilu chatra, that it's true even if it was chatra. Amar Rabbah afilu chatra. And what does that mean? As opposed to v'husha chatra, it's afilu chatra, even if the animal dug. And it means as follows: Lo mibaya, not only heicha de lo chatra, not only are you chayav in the case of lo chatra, de kula pshiyahu, that it is fully Bepeshia. It is completely negligent, meaning from start to finish. What you did was negligent, and that the damage that resulted was a result of your negligence. You put it, you gave it to a cheresho to a katan, and then it caused damage as a result of the fact that no one was watching it. Alternatively, you left it in the sun, which is negligent, and that caused it to escape and to cause damage. That's kula pshia, and you're chayav. Ella afilu chatra. These go together. Lo mibaya. Not only case A are you chayav, becomes Rabbah to say that even in case B, you are chayav. Ella afilu chatra. Even if the damage in the end was actually a result of an ones, an unforeseeable event, that the animal did something out of its nature and dug out of the wall. Mahu detema, because if it was chatra, you might have thought havele Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone. You might have thought that this is Techilato Bepeshia. This is all hava amina, what you would have thought. You would have thought, if not for Rabbah's interpretation of the Mishnah, that chatra is Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone. You were negligent at first because you didn't watch it properly. You put it in a difficult situation in the sun, and that's going to naturally cause it to come out. But in the end, it was ones. In the end, the actual damage that resulted was out of your control. And therefore, you might have thought Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone is patur. Kamash Malan, okay, the Mishnah, according to Rabbah, comes to teach us the kula pshia, that everyone would, it seems like it's saying, everyone would agree that you're responsible, everyone would agree that this is a pshia. My timer, why? So we have Mahu Detema, you might have thought, Kamash Malan, Maskana, that you are chayav because it's kula pshia, and then the my timer, the ta'am for the maskana, the reason for the maskana, the amarle, because he can say to him, the nizak to the mazik, the person, the victim to the owner of the animal that caused the damage. Meida yadata, you know, to kevan da shavkata bechama, since you left it in the sun, kol titztika de itle leme'eved avda v'nafka. That even though you had a good wall, but since you left it in the sun, you should know, or you do know, that that's naturally going to cause an animal to act in an unnatural way. That will cause an animal to scratch its way out and to try everything to bang wherever it can to find a way out. Even though it's unusual for an animal to dig up a wall, but in these circumstances, it's actually natural, and it's not Techilato Bepeshia Vesofo Beone, but it's actually kula pshia, and you're chayav. And that's what Rabbah is coming to say, that this din of the Mishnah, that hinicha bechama, is chayav, even if it was chatra, even if it escaped in an unnatural fashion, because the intense heat causes it to do that based on its very nature that you should know about, and you are therefore negligent.